Men of Reddit, what's the strangest boner you've ever had? When my wife and I got married, we got a bunch of money as wedding presents. We lived abroad and the wedding was in her home country, so people mostly gave cash rather than giving us gifts that we couldn't take with us. We got home after the wedding and counted all the cash and I got a raging boner by the time we were done. Worth noting that the amount was more than we had in our name at that point. Look at all of that cold, hard cash. Airplane boners. Almost every time during takeoff, I have liftoff. Not sure if it's the sudden change in altitude or cabin pressure or what, but I pretty much expect it every time now. I used to get an erection just before I got off the bus to school every day for almost a year when I was about 14. It would have been super embarrassing, but fortunately my erection isn't especially difficult to hide. Go to take the wins with the losses. I regularly go hiking with my wife. Every time we are at or near the top or a mountain or cliff and I look over the edge, I get hard. My girlfriend when she's just finished crying. I don't know why, but I think it's the way her eyes look when they're wet. Had to explain multiple times it's not over her crying. My husband is the same way. We call them sympathy boners. I was at a Christian music festival. A friend of mine at the time was sad because his girlfriend broke up with him, and the band that finished on the stage was the couple's favorite and played their favorite song. He started crying and hugged me. I was his shoulder to cry on, but then I felt myself chubbing up. Some guy is crying his eyes out on my shoulder and I'm getting a boner. That was freaking weird. Classic case of morning wood. Well, answer for my spouse. Even though he might give a different answer, he went through a phase where he was really captivated by owls. We went to a bird park, unaware they had an entire indoor enclosure filled with different types of owls. It was dark and eerie inside. Your eyes had to adjust, and the owls in different rooms sort of crept up on you. There were so many owls, way more owls than he had dreamed of seeing that day. It probably took us half an hour to walk through. Needless to say, he was very moved. Strangest was probably when I had an intense workout session and got ready to go to bed after a shower. I was so exhausted and seriously didn't feel like jerking one off. So there I was, just lying there with a raging boner trying to sleep. It's not the worst or more embarrassing experience, but it was certainly strange that my dong was just like, now is my time to shine. I freaking hate those. Go away, erection, and let me sleep. Me, a straight male, was turned on by my male friend yelling and swearing at me while hitting me with a ball. I still think about it sometimes. In 7th standard we were reading reproduction in plants, and I got a boner. The teacher teaching was pretty hot, so that could be a reason. Don't lie, that pollen looked sexy AF and you know it. Anytime a woman tells me she loves me or goes into some emotionally related tangent about her feelings for me, I get a massive hard on. Massive heart on. Not my boner obviously, but I was doing first aid training in swimming lessons and had to practice the Heimlich on an unconscious victim with a partner in front of the whole class, which includes straddling the victim. As I was doing this demonstration, I realized I could feel my partner's fully erect penis rubbing on me. We were in bathing suits. I was mortified. I can't even imagine the horror this poor dude felt. Bathing suits increase boner chance by 400% in my experience. I've had to full on command my penis to de-escort more than a few times in a bathing suit. After being alone for years and barely having any human contact, I got a boner from a cat cuddling me and doing the kneading thing they do. It was completely involuntary reaction and I feel weird about it to this day. For what it's worth, I'd recommend more human contact. It hurts like heck sometimes, but it's worth it. Church boners. When I was in grade school, there were giant paintings on the ceiling with semi-nude cherubs and lots of women there in dresses and nylons. I still have a thing for nylons and dresses. Church and cherubs not anymore. Got stung by a bee. I am on the ground writhing in pain. Grab my EpiPen. Inject myself, get an instant boner. Boner lasts until I get to hospital. Apparently it's normal. I wasn't too thrilled. I know there's a spider whose bite gives you a painfully hard erection and then you die. Every day when I got a lift to school, there was a hill we had to drive over. Whenever we drove up the hill I got a boner. Every single time. It doesn't matter what time of day it was, what day it was, I would get that same boner. I still do to this day. I used to have a pretty hot hair cutter and her trim clippers vibrating around my ears could do it. Luckily it was gone by time she pulled the drape off. I just had a hilarious mental image of a hairdresser whipping the cape off a dude and there's just sat there with a huge boner protruding from his pants. I got a boner from being appreciated and respected. Weirdest feeling ever. Not the boner, the other thing. But the timing was very odd. Somewhat similar. I got a boner when I got a text from the girl I was dating, my current where she asked if we were officially a couple. There was nothing sexual about it, but it instantly produced a throbbing boner. So apparently trazodone has a very rare but potentially very serious side effect that the doctor probably won't mention. Well, it happened to me. Took one to go to sleep one night. Next morning I have morning wood. No big deal. Except, it was still there when I got to work. 2 hours later, still here, and it wasn't a normal boner. Only the shaft was hard. The tip was still totally soft. No way I could have had fun with it. It was just incredibly uncomfortable. Go to the ear. Doc takes a look. Refers me to go see a urologist at another hospital. Get to the other hospital. Urologist takes a look. I tell him I took trazodone. I wasn't the first one there that week for the same problem. Only way to fix it was to manually drain the blood out of the shaft. It was not pleasant, and there was a lot of blood. If I had waited longer to go to the ear, they told me the blood could have clotted and caused permanent damage. I also take that and now I'm worried even though I don't have a penis. I have synesthesia, where different rhythms make me see different people and faces. Some rhythms make the sexiest women appear, and when I hear the right rhythm, it gets me hard. This is the most interesting one I've seen so far. What an odd side effect. Once me and my new girlfriend were sitting on the couch watching TV. I was not feeling very sexual or anything, just very relaxed. She had her leg over my leg, and I started playing with and touching her foot, with a sock on. Next thing I know I realize my dong is fully erect in a matter of seconds. That's the moment I learned I kinda like feet. My children's father would get one every time he sneezed. He was a sneeze 8XS in a few seconds person. Led to some comical situations and uncomfortable ones, I'm sure, for him. When my ex told me she wasn't sure if she loved me and if she still wanted to be with me, I kinda cried a little bit and she hugged me and I got a boner. I really didn't want to and it peed me off. It's a common thing, man. Don't feel too hard on yourself. Been through the same thing and other dudes here have too. Every now and then when I'm taking a crap, if the turd is big enough and solid enough, I think it stimulates my prostate because I'll get hard while it's coming out. Welcome to being a guy. Your G-spot is up your butt. I went to the bathroom during class my sophomore year of high school and came back to find a car boot on my chair. It had been lying in the classroom for a week or so. Not sure why. Someone decided put it on my chair that day and I told my teacher. She proceeds to start yelling at me like I did it and what I know. Popped a boner. Thank God my desk was at the back of the classroom and I was sitting. Went swimming in a river with best friend and his sister back in high school. Turns out there were lots of leeches and we all had to check each other and I ended up pulling leeches off of the side of my best friend's older sister's breasts. Somewhat understandable, but weird. So that's why you lost your medical license. There was this video of some sort of sea creature like a barnacle and it was opening and closing at the top. I got a hard on looking at it. Apparently I'm attracted to barnacles. SpongeBob me boy, what did you do to the barnacles nuggets? At my grandmother's funeral an attractive girl was wearing very tight khaki pants and I happened to notice her from behind. It didn't help that I quickly realized she was my first cousin. Anytime my wife is lounging in our house with her legs wide open, my penis thinks it's an open invitation even when it's not. The compass points north. The dolphin copper pasta. I was like, what the frick is this crap? And more importantly, why am I kinda frisky? No one will see this so I'm not afraid of people judging me, lol. I get a boner whenever I play with Lego. I don't know why. I don't know how. It's not my sitting position. I am bewildered by this. I saw this. I'm scared for you. A few years ago when my ex and I started really getting to know each other physically, we'd smoke weed before having sex. It was awesome. My buds hadn't seen me in like a month, so when I came back to chill we were all in my bud's backyard smoking weed around the table on his deck. I just remember when I tooked up, it's like my lungs sent a text to my dong being like, "You ready, amigo?" So I just had to sit in place with a huge boner around all my buds casually because my mind had associated weed to sweaty hot sex. I had to take time after that to smoke weed by myself to train my dong not to get Ben Steel rod hard. Pavloved. Anytime I'm in a car or a bus, it literally always happens and I just don't get it. I feel like I need to mention I'm not at all attracted to vehicles. Now it sounds like I'm definitely attracted to vehicles. I can hand on heart say that humans are the only things I'm attracted to. You don't believe that though because I've said too much. Frick. That comment was such a ride. Oh wait, sorry, didn't mean to sound sexual. Can I speak on behalf of an ex-BF? We were having an insane fight. Not even an argument. No, a full-on screaming competition, and the whole neighborhood probably heard everything word for word. All of a sudden I saw it. Out of pure surprise and completely caught off guard, I stopped my half of the screaming. "What? Now you have nothing to say," he yelled. "We should calm down. Your blood pressure is, obviously, high. WTF does that even mean? You have a boner." And in regards to your next question, number, weirdest way to win a fight. Not sure who exactly won most though. Been there, mid-breakup, but the next answer was yes. Got uncomfortable real fast afterwards. Back in 7th grade, I still remember it vividly. I was just zoning out in history class while others did presentations. The class was almost done, so I figured I'd go the next day. Nope. Got called to go to the front of the class to present. The teacher calling my name startled me, and all of a sudden it was happening. I walked quickly to the front of the class, faced more towards the board and turned my head to explain my slides for my project. All while I frantically was saying the ABCs in my head to make this horrible nightmare to end. Happened while in high school. I was taking the county rail system to get to work and back home. One day after work I saw the police at the transit station, and when I got to the train platform I saw them apprehending a shirtless dude while a woman was watching. I think shirtless dude was swearing at the girl while being hauled to the police car while handcuffed, and the woman was in tears. After the police cars rolled away, I went up and asked if she was alright and wanted to talk. The nutshell explanation was that was her abusive boyfriend that she was trying to get away from. Being on the spectrum, I have a hard time with emotional stuff, but nevertheless I asked if she wanted a hug, cause that was my logic. She accepted the request, and proceeded to hug me while sobbing on my shoulder chest. I was about half a foot taller than her. Cause I'm tall, my sklong decided that it wanted to go boner mode in that moment. Thankfully she never noticed, and the hug only lasted a few seconds. We never met again, probably cause she was at least 21 and I was 16 at the time, but yeah, boner got while providing an emotionally compromised young woman some support. You won't believe this, but I got a huge boner after watching Soul today. Something about the satisfying ending gave me a boner. Weird. Camping with my bud. Went for a long hike, and when we got back to camp we took turns using the camp shower. Basically a bag with a hose and nozzle. We're close friends and have seen each other naked multiple times, so the nudity was no big deal. He went first. I grabbed beer and took a hit or two of weed. So my turn. I stripped down, get wet and start soaping up. Post-hike energy, beer, and weed all hit and suddenly I've got a raging boner. Of course my friend had to point it out and make fun of me for it, in a good-natured way, and say stuff like not bad or you need to take care of that, all of which just made things worse. That is harder. I mean it was hard, like, about to launch off my body like a rocket kind of hard. Then I got soap in my eyes and couldn't find the hose, so I'm stumbling around naked with a raging hard-on covered in soap with my friend laughing his butt off. In the meantime a group of guys showed up and set up camp at the next site over and could see everything. I could hear the chuckles and comments they were making, and my friend started saying crap to them like, hey, $5 if you wanna take photos, 10 for video. Good thing for me I'm actually an exhibitionist, so I enjoyed it all quite a bit. This post is a runaway boner train. One summer I ran into an old co-worker I was into. She was wearing a tank top, so the moment we recognized each other she dropped her boyfriend's hand, put both her hands behind her neck and stood inches in front of me as we caught up. We just had a normal conversation, but after 5-10 minutes I noticed I had a raging erection and crazy energy. We used to talk all the time, including sex, and never had that happen. The only thing unusual was how close she stood, and she had her armpits pointed right at me the entire conversation, and non-verbal flirting became really intense. Poor BF. Middle school gym class. It was dance day where we were learning how to square dance. My crush asked me if I wanted to be her partner. Just touching her gave me an erection immediately. It was impossible to hide because of the shorts I was wearing. The whole class saw. Even the teacher. LOL, frick me. Was watching a streamer the other day who is really good at this game I'm a fan of. She says back it up daddy. Mind you, I have never been even close to interested in the daddy mindset and have never seen this streamer in that light. I had to walk away from my PC after that. Not me, but I remember a guy on the internet once saying he saw his parents watching a group of people naked in a pile, and years later he found out it was a Holocaust documentary and those people were dead bodies. Bro, I saw that comment. Oof. Honeymoon. We went to get a couple's massage. I had a very large woman. She was not attractive at all. As she was massaging my lower back and sides I started to get a chub. I didn't pee before we went in and she was pushing on the right spot and my body was like, I got his bro. It took everything I had to get it to go away before I had to flip. My wife was in tears laughing when I told her. Mid-90s I was in the Navy and mid the middle watch on the gangway. 12:004 am. On Thursday night. Got up Friday morning after a couple of hours kip. Did some work and late morning told we could go home for the weekend. I was being given a lift most of the way of the 3-hour journey home by an officer in training. Nice guy but quite reserved. Nice summer's day. Really warm car and weary from the night before I went to sleep not long into the journey. I woke about an hour later with a flagpole boner which my tracksuit bottoms were not hiding at all well. The realization of this as I became aware of this epic awkwardness made me burst out laughing. The poor bastard looked straight forward like his life depended on it. I made several apologies, but morning wood is never a great conversation with a superior officer. I was dang well glad to finish that journey. Got one from having a girl's tongue in my ear, also from having my toe sucked. Might seem tame to some but I had no freaking idea I liked that crap. I get bonus seeing other guys in flip-flops or Vans. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.